Hey guys, my name is John Hilton, and I wanted to make a video today just showing you guys how we are starting our no-till garden here in Nashville, Tennessee. You might know this as no-till or no-dig, but I am following the methodologies of Charles Dowding. You can find him on YouTube. I would call him the grandfather of the no-dig garden that's been done many different ways over the years. You've probably heard of it in different names. No-till, no-dig, Ruth Stout. There's a bunch of different names for this style of gardening, but we're specifically following Charles Dowding's kind of methods here. As you can see, we are laying down a light blocking sublayer. So in other words, in this case, we are using cardboard. What this is going to do is is going to help us to kill the grass and weeds that we are starting our garden beds right on top of. We also wet that cardboard down in that first clip there so that we can make sure that it stays in place really, but it also starts the breaking down process of that layer underneath what is going to be compost on top. I'm making kind of a large keyhole style garden here. The center area is going to be a sitting area, and you will see what this area was before we decided to turn it into our first garden, vegetable garden. It was completely covered in weeds and stumps and small trees and shrubs, and somebody had attempted to plant some things there over the years. You can see there's some monkey grass that I decided to leave for some aesthetic, but it was just a mess. It was completely filled with English ivy that had come from an old stump. And here you can see we've laid down all the cardboard to make sure that we're going to kill the weeds underneath. You can see I have some crabgrass there, which can be pretty invasive, but according to Charles Dowding, you should be able to just pull that out pretty easily, since it's going to have to come up all the way through that light blocking layer and then up through the compost as well. You don't want to disturb the soil too much when you're pulling weeds. You just want to pull them back underneath the soil surface to make sure that they're not putting on new growth. So here we are starting to lay down the compost. I'll probably get a lot of questions about what this is. This is spent mushroom compost, is what some people call it, or just regular mushroom compost. In other words, it is a compost that was used for mushrooms to be grown in, and this specifically was an organic mushroom compost from all that I could gather. I tried my hardest to do my research to make sure it was good and clean, because we are going to be doing organic gardening here. And so you can see I'm laying down probably 4 inches. I'm giving it a light pack, and then I'm laying about another 4 inches on top. And really, after you've compacted it just a little bit, it kind of comes down to around 3 to 4 inches from about 8. So when you're planning how much soil you need, make sure that you plan accordingly with your soil calculators. I planned for 7 inches of compost all the way around, and realistically I ended up with about 3 to 4 inches in most spots. Some spots are a little deeper, some spots are a little shallower. Just kind of depends on where you're at, because you're not taking into account the elevation for, dips in your yard and stuff like that. So you do have to fill that stuff in as you go. So just make sure you account for enough compost. As you can see here, it's okay to take a few days in between laying down your cardboard and getting your compost put on top. Honestly, it probably could be done in the same day, no problem. I know that's what Charles Dowding does in his intro video to no-dig gardening, and I'm sure that would be completely fine. I just didn't have all the time in the world to get that done. I will also say that if you were just doing a small bed, you could probably do this no problem in an afternoon, but honestly this turned into a lot more of a project than I first anticipated, but we made it through it just fine. A sore neck and a sore back the first couple days, but we made it through. It was all right. Once you get that compost laid down on top of that cardboard, as long as you don't have any loose floating edges, it should be fine to hold the cardboard down against the elements and things. As you can see, I am leaving about a 12-inch edge on all sides of the bed. The reasoning for that is because you don't want weeds to kind of climb in from the outside. The other reason I'm leaving that edge is because we will cover that with wood chips whenever we come back and finish out the edge of the garden. We will not be covering our beds with wood chips, but we will be surrounding them to make walking paths and to keep down weeds. So here, as we finish out the garden, you can see what it looked like before, completely covered in English ivy and brush. And here we are with our new 195 square foot of garden space. I am so excited, and thanks for watching.